Chapter 6 is all inequalities. It starts off easy, it's all review. Eventually it's going to end up, we got to do exactly what we did in Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, y equals mx plus b. So it's graphing again, except instead of equals, it's going to be an inequality. Everyone remember what the inequalities are?
Yeah.
Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Okay? So, anytime you solve an inequality, you solve it exactly like an equation. There's no difference. Well, there's one little difference. We'll see if anyone remembers it when we get to it. So what we're doing today is just the one step. Just like one-step equations, one-step inequalities. X plus 4 is greater than negative 7. So, in order to solve this, what do you got to do to get the x by itself? Minus 4. You do the opposite. It's a plus 4, so you minus 4. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So you're left with x is greater than negative 11. Now the difference here is sometimes they say just solve it. Most of the time they say solve and graph. Which you did this in 7th grade and 8th grade. So we don't need to do as much of it. So remember when you graph these, you don't need to make a big long number line. You can just put 3 numbers on it, whatever the solution is, and then 2 on each side. Now remember, negatives go backwards. So x is greater than negative 11. Greater is everything to the right of negative 11. So we got to put a dot there. It's either going to be hollow or filled in.
Filled in.
Hollow.
Hollow, which means it's greater than. It starts there but does not include it. So we'll just, in the book they put it right on, but it's hard to kind of see if we put it on it, so you can just put above it. Hollow circle at negative 11. X is greater than that, so it's everything to the right.
Bless you then.
Okay? It doesn't matter, just like in equations, which side the letter is on. The letter's on the right, so just keep it on the right. To get rid of a minus 2, you add 2. Add 2, and you get 6 is less than x. So when you graph this one, again, it's not equal to, so it's hollow at 6. Which way would this arrow go?
This way.
Read the letter first. What does this say? X is greater.
That's why I'm so bad at
It's pointing at the 6, which means x is greater. So x is greater than 6, so it goes everything to the right. If you always read the letter first, you'll get it right. If it's greater, it goes to the right. If the letter's greater, if the letter's less, it goes to the left. So sometimes people get this mixed up. They think the direction of the sign and the arrow go the same way. That's true as long as the letter's always on the left. But if it's on the right, it's backwards. So these are one step where we just subtracted and we added. Sometimes we've got to multiply and divide. Okay, what do you got to do to solve this? Divide by negative 2, negative 2, and we get y. All right, someone remembered. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, and it's only the number you're getting rid of, you got to switch the sign. Switch direction. It's very easy to forget that. That's just something you got to memorize. So you got to switch the direction of the sign because I divided by a negative. So y is less than or equal to 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. So that would be, since it's got the equal sign, that means it includes it. So you fill in the circle. Y is less than, so it's everything to the left. Okay? So, the only thing that's different when you solve it like an equation, if multiplying or dividing by a negative, so it's only the number you multiply by or divide by, switch direction of the sign. Okay, so here's one where in order to solve this one, what do we do to get the x by itself? Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Now sometimes people get confused because they say, well, I'm dividing with a negative. It's not whatever the number's over there, it's the number you're getting rid of. Since this is positive, you don't switch the direction of the sign. So negative 6 divided by a positive 3 is negative 3. Don't switch direction.
So if you divide by a negative?
Yep, it's only if you divide or multiply by a negative.
Negative. Only a negative.
Only a negative. So this one, it's filled in because it's equal. Which way does the line go?
Less.
X is less, so it's to the left. So one that you would multiply if it's written like here, it's x divided by 4, so you got to multiply by 4. That'll get rid of the 4's, but there's still a negative there, so you got to take it times negative 4. You understand? So then take this times negative 4, and you get x. Since I took it times a negative, switch the direction of the sign, and you got negative 40. Now, just a refresher, if you've got a fraction times the letter, okay, if it's a fraction times the letter, you got to get rid of the fraction, times it by reciprocal. That's the easiest way to do it. You could divide by 2/3 if you got a fraction calculator, but it's always easiest when it's a fraction times it, take it times the reciprocal, do the same to the other side. This one's an easy one, but if you're just using a calculator, you just go negative 4 times 3 divided by 2. That's all a fraction is. This one will cross cancel. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Okay? So, very easy today. They're just all the one-step ones like I went to. Tomorrow it's the two-step.
That's why I got